Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So I found this video rather interesting as well. And some of these women are entering into marriages, relationships, carrying it on, knowing full and well that these are not relationships that they should be in for one reason or the other, knowing that they don't want the men that they are linking themselves to, or they know that the men don't really want them like that. Whichever way, I want y'all to listen to this convoluted story, and then we're going to talk about it.
And, I tell people in my podcast, walking down the aisle, I pretty much knew I was making a mistake. And I knew the night before that I should have canceled. But when I'm looking at 200 guests who showed up for us and spent all this time investing money to come, I just kind of had this guilt, like I can't do this to them, right? So I'll suffer on account of that. But we were only married for 5 out of 19 years. Once we got married, it was just an immediate shift. And I even learned maybe a couple years into the marriage that he actually cheated on me 2 weeks after the wedding. But even, I tell people in my podcast, walking down the aisle, I pretty much knew I was making a mistake. And I knew the night before that I should have canceled. But when I'm looking at 200 guests who showed up for us and spent all this time investing money to come, I just kind of had this guilt, like I can't do this to them, right? So I'll suffer on account of that. But we were only married for 5 out of 19 years. Once we got married, it was just an immediate shift. And I even learned maybe a couple years into the marriage that he actually cheated on me 2 weeks after the wedding. But even, I tell people in my...
Now, it was a short little clip, but it said so much. They were married 5 out of the 19 years. So 14 years prior to getting married. They were together for 14 years before they got married. She said they were together for 19. They were married for 5. So 14 years y'all was together. You knew it was a mistake before you got married. Discovered he was quote unquote cheating on you after the marriage, a couple of weeks after. Y'all done got divorced. Ma'am, you knew that relationship wasn't worth anything for the 14 years. It took that man 14 years to marry you. It took how many twisting of his arm? It took how many arguments about not getting married yet? It took how much badgering from your part? It took how much feet dragging on his part? It took how much of him just not really being into it and then finally saying, come on, gal, come on now. Walk on down this aisle now, gal. I don't want to hear it no more. It really? Really? Just all of that foolishness you stayed through for 14 years, and then for the 5 you couldn't take it? Talking about it was a shift on whose part? She didn't say who shifted. Because he's trying to figure out what was the difference with the paper and not the paper. You're trying to make him commit to you because you have invested all of this time into a relationship. I keep saying this. I've said this over and over. Chicks think time make a relationship more than what it is. No, it does not. The reason why it does not is because whether or not relationships are had are not up to us. It's actually up to men. Men gatekeep relationships, and they do not gatekeep it upon time. Time is not the factor for them. Their biggest factor is not time. They are not operating on the same kind of biological clock that we are operating on. So therefore, they do not feel the same pressure of time. For men, time does not change the nature of the relationship. If he got with you and y'all got together, but it wasn't that serious, in his mind, it's never gonna be that serious. Whoever he made up in his mind who you were to him, that's who you are to him. If he made up that you just a good girlfriend to have around for a little while, then that's who you are. There's no amount of doing this, doing that, trying to prove you wife material, trying to stick by him, trying to support that. All of that is nice, but in his mind, you're just a good girlfriend to have around. He makes no intention to keep you long term. Long haul means commitment, not time in the eyes of men. The long haul depends on who you are. If he meets you and he determines that you are his wife, that clicks in his mind, long haul. This is when he starts making moves towards commitment and towards solidifying that relationship in that regard. As long as he's not doing that, ma'am, that's not who you are to him. And I wish women would get this through their thick skull. We're the one that operates on a biological clock. So therefore, we are the ones that need to have the best discernment as it pertains to which man that we're giving this time to, because we can't get our time back. Now, he can't get his time back either, but his value is not decreasing with time. That's the difference. The more time we waste in a relationship that's going nowhere fast, the less valuable we become after that and during it, because it's not a relationship where we are being committed to. So therefore, we're not really being poured into like that. And so our value decreases rapidly. It's different when you're actually in a marriage where you're being poured into. Your value not going down. It's actually raising. But when you're in these little situationships that you're trying to piece it together and make it like it's going to be a marriage that he never told you was going to get, that be on y'all with this time wasting stuff. And then 2 years go by, and then 3 years go by, and then 5 years go by, and you don't want to leave, because even though you realize that this relationship is a dead end, you don't want to leave because you've invested X amount of time, which in reality, in his world, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. You should have peaked game a year in, 6 months, 8 months, a year in, maybe even 2 in, that whatever it was that you said you wanted and you want to be married and this, that, and the third, it didn't start out like that, and he's not moving towards that direction. You cannot twist these men's arms into trying to be married to you. And if you succeed in twisting his arm like this one did, he's not going to honor it no differently. You didn't change. Your position with him did not change. That piece of paper didn't change it. It did not change it. Whoever he was with after the marriage, he'd been with that other woman before. Ma'am. Like, I don't know what it's going to take. I keep on telling y'all, if a man is intending to make you his wife, he makes that known. If he don't never say that, that is not what he intends. If he never says that, if he never makes no move towards it, if his actions don't never speak to that, then that is not what he's doing with you, ma'am. He just figure you either jump off or you a cool girlfriend. So you might not just be a jump off, but you might just be a cool girlfriend. He'll rock with that for 20 years. He'll rock with you. He'll rock with you for 30. And if he never find nothing better in them 30 years of rocking with you, then he might marry you. He might. Y'all don't know when y'all placeholders, and you don't like to accept when you discover it. When you discover you're a placeholder, she discovered this years ago. Now she get on the internet with a story about how it was a mistake and, you know, he got to be a cheater in the midst of it and all of this other foolishness. Keep telling y'all, men say what they want. Men say exactly what they want. You got to be listening. If he said he not getting married and every time you bring it up, it's either an argument or he evade that question or it's never a solid answer. If you got to ask what's going on, that's because he has not been clear. And if he is not clear, that means you are not his wife. And he's not trying to make you his wife no time soon. He has to say that to you early on, not 15 years from now. After your youth is gone and all of that. Now you mad at him because the best years are gone. Nobody told you to spend your best years in a store that was closing up. How you gonna spend your best money in a store that's going bankrupt? It ain't going nowhere. How you investing in a stock that's about to fall? And you keep on investing in it. Stock ain't rose up in 15 years. Stock ain't rose up not now time. But if I put $10 more in it, if I put $300 more in it, the stock will go up. No, it won't. No, absolutely not. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.